This is KJ-52. This interview brought to you by Power Bar. Make sure to pick up your Protein Plus Power Bar.
He was trying to eat during my interview.
I'm trying to eat. Sorry, you caught me. If I have anything in my teeth, I apologize in advance. I'm ready. Let's do this.
So you're one of the, you've got probably the most videos by a Christian hip-hop artist this year. Is that related to the 5-2 television theme of the album, or just kind of where music is going?
Yeah, all the above.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, too, it just got to the point where I could kind of do them myself. There's a bunch of them that I'm getting ready to drop that I just got an HD camera from my dad, and thank God for iMovie. And just a little bit of creativity, you can go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it was definitely the 5-2 television theme, but I think also, too, I thought, we're in a singles-driven market, and so people connect with songs before they connect with albums, so I figured why not have this video for every song? That gives it kind of a fresh push, and I think sometimes you don't necessarily always connect with a song until maybe you see it, something that goes into that. So
You also push out a lot of mixtapes, whether it's The Office or the Michael Jordan, or not Michael Jordan, Jackson.
Michael Jackson, Jordan.
Yeah, and the most recent one, the Can't Rhyme mixtape, which to me was a brilliant way to kind of respond to everybody who says you're just a youth group kiddie rapper.
You know what, dude? Here's the thing I learned about that particular mixtape. Was it's almost like if you don't like me, you still don't like me. You're going to find something in that mixtape to not like me about. And if you like me, you just like me still. But, that mixtape came out of a conversation. This guy, Blaze Torch, he's the one who hosted it. He asked me to do a track with him. And I'd known him from doing some shows and stuff like that. He's a good dude. And he was like, yo, man, he's like, people don't know you for your lyrics. You don't get any respect for your punchlines and things like that. And your East Coast sort of vibe. And I said, and I jokingly texted him back, like, man, I could do that in my sleep. He's like, okay, then do it. And so he kind of put me on the spot. And I was like, well, dude, I've been sitting on a good 10 to 15 verses for other people. Like, people that would ask me to get on their stuff because rappers are slackers. They wouldn't put it out or they just sit on it. And so I thought, wow, why waste this stuff? And so really, I just recorded him to a bunch of tracks, and he went out and got DJ Somatic, who is, I guess, Fat Joe's old DJ. And, man, that thing got, turned around in a week. I was blown away. But it was kind of, part of it was, too, with a little bit of... I can't help but think, honestly, sometimes I feel it's like a double standard for me. In other words, anything I do, if I do it, someone else could do the exact same thing, and they get a completely different reaction. So I could do a very mixtape, and nobody would either, maybe they don't pay attention, or they don't give it a second chance, or maybe they just don't want to admit that they like it, you know what I mean? Where someone does the same thing, it's a different aspect. I can do something funny or goofy, and then suddenly I'm a kiddie youth rapper who has no other thing to contribute to the genre. Whereas someone else does something goofy or funny, it's like, oh, I love how they're so down to earth, and they show their funny side. That shows how we should be in Christ. It's like this ridiculous double standard. I can do one song that maybe doesn't reference anything spiritual. It's just something that I would think would be funny or cool. Not funny or cool, but just something I would talk about, and suddenly I don't present the gospel because of that. In other words, I compromise. Yet the same people will get on their Twitter and talk about the same thing. So I never really understood the idea that suddenly, your life should stop here at your record, and that you should have this one persona or this way of being off the mic. It just always felt hypocritical. Not hypocritical, but it just felt like, why should we stop? Let every aspect of who we are be reflected in our music. But yeah, it was part of it was just like saying, fine, you think I can't do that? It was kind of like me saying, I could do this literally in a week. Not to be boastful, but to just simply say, there was that power bar. That was not what I was trying to say. Just to kind of say, fine, you don't think I can rhyme? Well, here you go. But I really didn't want to turn it. It wasn't supposed to be battle oriented or anything. It was really just. It was trying to use a creative way of talking about who Christ is within that aspect. Does that make sense? But it's funny, even in the midst of that, I still get bashed. It's like no matter what, I don't know what it is about me that just attracts this ridiculous, like, I just shake my head sometimes, but.
Yeah. And then the South made a cartoon, which I felt was on your side. They were just saying, hey, if he was black, would you still feel this way? And you tweeted it, and you said you got some feedback on that. And,
I got a lot of feedback.
and people didn't get what you were trying to say about it, too? Or?
Well, I got what he was getting at. And that's essentially what he's talking about is he took the cover of my mixtape, which was me with a line going through me like Ghostbusters, you know, and he basically essentially made me black in the picture. And the caption was, "So now can I rhyme?" I basically saying, if I would have been black, none of this would have been a discussion. And I got it. I understood exactly what he was getting at. But the visual of it is so shocking that I think the majority of people didn't. Which, you know, it is what it is. But I had to go back and re-explain that this is not a diss on me per se. It's really it's sort of a reflection of the mirror. But let me clarify. I don't ever walk around with a chip on my shoulder like the world owes me something. I count doing what I do as a privilege. You know what I mean? It's a privilege and an honor. And I mean that from many aspects. From a ministry aspect and from a racial aspect. I get to occupy what's the word I'm looking for? I get to occupy a position that very few people do, and I wouldn't consider it like I'm owed this. It's a privilege. It's an honor. So yeah.
Yeah. Was also going to ask how Chris Carlino's doing. Have you talked to him lately? How's his walk?
The evil alter ego.
Yeah.
It's funny. He's talking about the Chris Carlino character that goes through the new KJ record. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is in conjunction with all these videos, I'm going to try and shoot an actual sort of I don't know if you'd call it like a movie, but I want to do sort of a raw documentary that essentially is my testimony, but maybe from the Chris Carlino perspective.